You wanted to know when you first heard that Johnny was basing his character on you?
Well, very recently. I mean, after he finished the movie, I think he wanted to preempt me before I read it in the newspaper.
I'm in the market, as it were.
I didn't know he was studying me, you see.
Distant cousin of my aunt's nephew, twice removed. Lovely singing voice, though. Unique.
He's an astute mind. He's a good musician, and he's got a great guitar collection, which I've got my eye on.
That's interesting.
And I've got my chain from Captain Jack and the sash, but I mean, that's being refitted. Thank you, Johnny. What a pal.
The sequence is the Moonlight serenade. It's the big moment when a heroine discovers exactly what she's gotten herself into, and that the pirates are even worse than just being pirates, but are in fact cursed pirates. Anytime we see the cursed pirates or the pirates in Moonlight, they're skeletal. And obviously we can't have the live actors turn into skeletons, so that's where the computer graphics takes over. For most of the scenes, they've taken the cast members and they've had them act out the scene, and then they shoot that as if it was going to be the final scene for the movie. And then they'll remove the actors and shoot the same camera moves, and now we have a reference plate that shows all the actors in the lighting environment and moving, so that provides a good reference, not only for the animators for positioning the characters and capturing the idiosyncrasies of each of the different actors who are playing the different parts, but it also gives us some good lighting cues. We can see the relative brightness between their skin and their clothes and where the light is coming from. And then with the clean plate, we can make it much easier then to remove those actors and put our computer-generated pirates in place of them.
There's a huge amount of detail that goes into these shots. Fortunately on this show, because the skeletons are they're human when they're not in the moonlight, we do have the great performances of the actors who play the skeleton pirates. And we can look at that for reference, and we can get a lot from that. But still, when we're animating the shot, we've got to bring all that into the shot, all the detail. We have to study what the real actors did and try and bring as much of that as we possibly can. So that's a lot of detail. It's a lot of little things to keep track of to make sure they're really working exactly right and not defeating the shot in some way.
One of the most important things about the monkey is the fur, of course, because it was covered in it. We wanted to work with clumps of fur that were there, clumps that were not, so that you could see through to the bone. It had to look greasy and dirty and just give the whole cursed look to the monkey. As we developed the shot, we got the lighting more in place, we got the fur on the monkey. He has more blue light on his face. We added a little bit of motion to the camera to make it a more dynamic shot. We added some more contrast so that there was a difference between his bone and his flesh, and you could really tell that this was a decayed monkey. And we added the medallion, which was an important part of this shot. We simulated the actual medallion swinging so it had natural dynamics, even though all of that is computer generated.
It's sort of a many level process. Once we get all this film back to ILM, we take the physical set and we model that in the computer. And this is the reference plate that's basically shot with the actors. So these would be the very furthest back layer of pirates. You'll see the progressive layers. The next row of pirates will be a little bit closer.
So now once we've rendered all of our characters, the next job is to actually place them in the scene with the live action footage that we've shot. This first pass is just basically a movie with the renders just dropped on top, so it's a very early version of the composite.
The Moonlight shows us for what we really are. We're not among the living, so we cannot die.
Ultimately, all of those different elements, the cloth, the rich body dynamics, the animation, whether it's motion capture or keyframes, and the geometry that the models provide and the view paint that the view painters put together, all sort of come into a hub of what we call the TDs, or technical directors, that take all that information and on each frame make sure that it has proper lighting, and they render it to make it look as photoreal as we can get it.
We pan down, so rather than allow the body, even though he's a skeleton, it's a silly thing is to think, well, would he be able to breathe? But it doesn't matter. It's all about, having fun with this and bringing life to it. So one of the requests was for shapes that were breathing shapes. So I've created a number of these shapes that actually take the rib cage and expand it or fill that cavity. Even though we don't see this much flesh on it, it's probably more likely that we see more bone through him. But that it's kind of part of the gag, though, is the ability that he is gulping down this liquid, but it's not doing anything, it's falling through his body.
Being able to bring all this realism to it and really push that as far as we can take it, and have these creepy corpses walking around and sword fighting, that was just very exciting. And then on top of that, we're making our cloth simulation and our hair simulation and all these things better all the time. And so as animators, it's very exciting to create a performance and then have all that extra realism layered on top of it that's just getting better with every show that we do here.
You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one. What are you looking at? Back to work.